So here we are, 6 months after Destiny 2 was launched on PC, and I'm just now pretty much getting used to my keybinds. I'll show you on screen what sorts of keybinds I'm rocking right now. So you'll immediately notice instead of a keyboard, I use a Razer Orbweaver. While this input device is usually mocked in the first-person shooter community, it makes the most use of my space because I don't have a normal desk. See, I was a college student, it made more sense to have a bunk bed with a desk to make more space in the room because I share a room with a roommate, but very long story short, I'm used to playing on an Orbweaver. And while it definitely has its pros and cons, I try to make the most of it. Over top of the spacebar, it has a directional pad, which I use as alternate buttons for class ability, melee, the sit emote, and reload so that while I'm strafing, I'm able to still do all those actions. For some, you may say, hey Cammy, that's kind of unnecessary, don't you think? But in a first-person shooter, all milliseconds count. So if I'm able to do stuff simultaneously without dropping my strafe, that means I might make it to cover first. Who knows? This is primarily the reason why I switch my weapons with the scroll wheel. Again, this brings up a new list of pros and cons using the scroll wheel to begin with because it's not the most accurate input method. But if you hit the scroll wheel multiple times and map arbitrary buttons to it, well, it doesn't really matter because you're hitting it multiple times. It also so happens that in Destiny right now on PC, if you're a Titan and you use catapult jump, well, you can map spacebar to the scroll wheel and Titanscape. Obviously, this affects my ability to change weapons, but I found a solution to this. Just map the DPI button to swap between two control schemes, one for Titan skating and the other for swapping weapons. But when I'm not on my Titan, the DPI switch is actually very useful for both the Hunter dodge and the Icarus dash on the Warlock. If you set your DPI switch to swap to a DPI that's crazy high, and then while dodging, swipe your mouse left and right, it makes your character do these extremely erratic movements, and after you're done dodging, you simply switch the DPI back to what it originally was. In addition to DPI swapping, there's also mouse control schemes that make it very easy to use certain exploits in Destiny right now, and I don't recommend these at all. In fact, if you use macros, you are a terrible person. Very highly frowned upon in the Destiny community. Just don't use these. I'm not even going to tell you what they are. Just don't use them. The reload. Oh, no, nobody saw that. On the subject of my mouse, I use a very low DPI, or for controller users, the equivalent of sensitivity. The number that I'm comfortable using is 400, with an in-game sensitivity of 7, with an ADS sensitivity modifier of 1.0. For those adept with mouse and keyboard, you might say, Cammy, that is really hella slow. And I agree with you. I'm not disagreeing. For me to be able to do fast flick actions with the mouse, I have to move my entire arm. And the trade-off to that is that when I'm aiming for something very precise, like a pixel of somebody's elbow is showing around a corner, if I have a snipe, I might be able to hit that, where somebody with an extremely high sensitivity, or DPI, might miss. Shoot him in the ankles, I'm ready for this. Oh! And that's pretty much all there is to talk about when it comes to my keybinds. So I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope this explains maybe a little bit of why I use such a weird setup. But anyway, let me know what setup works for you the best in the comment section, and I'll see you in the next one.